Hello, and welcome to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Luray Page Day, so we are on the Zooms today with Gina Hilliard. Gina is the president at the Luray Page Chamber of Commerce. I know, Gina, we're recording this a couple of weeks ahead of when people are actually listening, so you are getting geared up for the golf tournament, which will have already happened by the time people are listening. But you had really great turnout from a team's perspective, people signing up to participate in this event. So kudos to you.
Thank you. It was. It's our third annual, and it was a great turnout. We had 20 team sign-ups. Sponsorships was great. So it was a very successful golf tournament this year.
Sara Outler is joining us. She is the Outreach and Advancement Manager for the Brain Injury Connections of the Shenandoah Valley. Lisa Bell is with us as well. She is the Northern Region Case Manager. So, Sara, Lisa, thank you both for taking some time today to educate Gina and I on brain injury and on what your organization does. I appreciate it.
We're happy to be here. Thanks for taking the time.
Sara, let me start with you for an overview. If someone is listening today and they have no idea who you are or what you do, give me the 411 on that.
Essentially, we provide case management for brain injury survivors. We're helping them adjust to their new normal. Every brain injury is unique. So we focus on what the individual person's goals are, and we work to help them meet those goals. And that can mean a lot of different things. I'll let Lisa speak to that. But I want to emphasize that in addition to being client centered in our goals, we're also client centered in that all of our services are free of charge. That is really important to us because we want everyone to be able to access our services. We have received funding through grants and through DARS to make that
And that's
happen.
incredibly helpful because brain injuries as a medical condition are incredibly expensive just to get medical care for.
Yes, and we're not just talking about a traumatic brain injury, which I think is what most people think when they think about our services. We also help people who have suffered strokes or had an illness that created a brain injury, or perhaps they had a lack of oxygen incident, then we would also support them. And we support children through adults.
I could see different scenarios from car accidents to sports injuries to possible drowning where someone is able to be revived. There are a lot of things that could cause some sort of traumatic brain injury.
Absolutely. Lisa, do you want to speak a little bit about that?
Anything, like you said, from a car accident to domestic violence, even you can get traumatic brain injury. But there's also acquired brain injury. And acquired brain injury is something that might come from you've had a stroke or an aneurysm or maybe a seizure that causes a brain injury. Traumatic, if you think about it, is more from something that you have suffered from the outside, and then acquired is more on the inside. The only kind of brain injury that we don't work with are the kind where you're actually born with a brain injury.
You make a really good point, Lisa, because I think sometimes when we even just hear the phrase brain injury, we do think about that physical aspect of how that injury happened. And we don't often think about all of the other things that could cause a
Mhm.
brain injury of some sort that don't involve some sort of physical motion.
A lot of our clients have brain injury from strokes, aneurysms. It's a mix of the two, traumatic and acquired.
Are all brain injuries lifetime? Like with a stroke, for example, can you fully recover from having a stroke and the brain injury that is subsequent to it?
There's a lot of different factors that go into recovery because a stroke can affect your speech. It can affect you physically, your arms, your walking, and there's a lot of side effects. I think you might be able to recover to certain points, but a full recovery, I am not sure about that. I think a lot of it also depends on the individual, the support they're receiving, medical care. But one thing that is for sure is that regardless of which type of brain injury they may have had, the outcomes and the side effects that they deal with are for life.
Recovery probably does look different for each individual person. I would imagine that's why it's so valuable having you as a case manager to be able to work with. What does that look like typically?
We connect with the client and learn what their needs are, what their wants are. We have discussions about these things. And then we do our best to connect them to points in the community, organizations in the community where we can, because let's say, for example, that I have someone who had a stroke and they're a few years past it. They become a client and they want to, this happens a lot, they want to move from their apartment to another apartment, or they want to begin volunteering somewhere. That's social. And that becomes one of their goals. I want this. I need this. And so as a case manager, I connect them to other organizations where they can work on those goals. Sometimes that means helping them with the application to be a volunteer, looking up different places that actually use volunteers, utilize them, and then making sure that they're able to connect. I don't do all of the work for them. It's important that they are working toward these goals themselves, but I provide the assistance, the network to help them take steps to get there on their own.
That sounds like it's a really valuable resource for people in the community to have access to, because typically, if you are suffering from a brain injury or you have family members who are, you have no idea where to go, where to start, what to do. Having an organization like yours is probably a lifesaver in a lot of ways.
Right. And there's no support. I live in Luray, and Page County is one of my counties. I cover Shenandoah, Page, and Rappahannock. And one of the things that I am keenly aware of is that there is very little support if there's a client who is in a position where maybe their speech is completely affected and they just can't speak anymore. My support also extends to the caregiver because they're not necessarily going to know how to just go out and find it. It's really nothing going on that I know of in this county, but that's really important. The support, not only for the client, but the caregiver as well may need help with anything from filing for Medicaid to seeing someone to prepare a power of attorney. There's just a lot of different aspects of it.
I'm new to this part of the social work sphere, so I've learned so much from the case managers during the time I've been here. And one thing that really fascinated me is that a client might stay on for 2 to 3 years and they're feeling like they're back on track and they decide that they don't need our services. Well, they can come back at any time because a brain injury can change over time. And a person with a brain injury is much more likely to get a second brain injury. And so I really like that our program is set up that you can always come back. You can decide that you're at a good place and you're satisfied with where you are, but if something else happens, we're still here for you. And I really love that about our program. Our case managers are very consistent and they are really able to build a nice rapport and a connection with the families. I think it's really great. And I do have to tell a story that I'm still fascinated by, and I really want to see this thing. But we had a client in another region who loved to cook, but they had had a stroke and they lost the use of one arm. So how are you going to cut vegetables with one arm? So they found her a cutting board that sticks to her counter and holds the vegetables. So she only has to worry about the knife. And that is so amazing to me. Like the creativity of the case managers to find those solutions is really interesting.
It's so incredibly valuable because case managers and your organization in general have the tools. You know what terms to search for, you know where to start searching for something, as opposed to that person or that family member who doesn't even know the proper terminology to begin
Right.
to look for something, or if something even exists. So for people to have access to your organization and your services, I think is outstanding.
One of my goals is to make sure that everyone understands that we are there for them. We're always trying to get the word out because we know there are people who could utilize Lisa's services in her region that just don't know we exist.
Let's take a break. When we come back, let's talk a little bit more about who those people are and how they would get in touch with you, how they would find you. And then before we started recording, Sara, you were talking about Mind Matters and the PALS program. Can we get some details for both of those in the next segment?
Absolutely.
We are on the Zooms today for Luray Page Day. Gina Hilliard is joining us. She is president at the Luray Page Chamber of Commerce. Her guests today are Sara Outler. She is an outreach and advancement manager for the Brain Injury Connections of the Shenandoah Valley. Lisa Bell is their Northern Region case manager. We're going to talk more with all of them when we come back in just a couple of minutes.
This Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. She doesn't know that yet. All she knows is that she went to justserve.org and volunteered an hour of her time. Browsing through dozens of service opportunities in her community, April decided to spend her Tuesday evening serving dinner to mothers and their children at a transitional house. She doesn't know she'll be serving a particular mother and daughter who will be spending their first night in this home. April doesn't know that the hot meal she'll serve is the first this mother and daughter will have had in a week, or that the simple smile she'll offer as she serves them will help them realize that things are going to be all right. Which is why this Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. See the difference you can make. Sign up for service opportunities in your community. Visit justserve.org.
Back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. We are on the Zooms today for Luray Page Day. Gina Hilliard is joining us. She is the president at the Luray Page Chamber of Commerce. Her guests today are Sara Outler. Sara is the outreach and advancement manager for Brain Injury Connections of the Shenandoah Valley. Joining Sara and Gina is Lisa Bell. She is the Northern Region case manager for the organization. And Sara, we talked a little bit with Lisa in the first segment about all of the things that a case manager can help a client with, but that's not even the only thing that your organization offers. You have other programs as well.
Right. We're really excited. We've just launched a program called Mind Matters, and that is focused on concussion recovery and basically general knowledge about concussions. When I was a kid, I got hit in the head with a softball, went down. The coach came over, told me to shake it off and go get back in the game. Now we know that is not the best way to handle a concussion in youth sports. But still today, I don't think that parents are quite aware of everything that can occur if you don't pull your child. So we're focused on youth sports, the coaches, either at the school or the volunteer coaches that are running the Little League for your area. We want to make sure that they are aware of how to identify a concussion, what the protocol should be, and then also, so the parents and teachers understand that the child will need longer recovery time than an adult would. The average recovery time is at least 2 to 4 weeks for a child, and they may not be able to focus on a screen, or they may need breaks during the day. They definitely cannot go back into a sport where they would be in danger of being hit again. We can't take a day off and go back to football practice. They can do other light exercise, but nothing that might endanger their brain. And it's really important because you want them to get through that whole process and heal before we go back. If you sprain your ankle, you 100% know you have to stay off it. But we can't see your brain injury. And so I think oftentimes it's discounted on the field as well as the classroom. And it's really important that you take the time to heal your brain just like you would an ankle.
Particularly when we're talking about our younger generation. I mean, our adult generation in the Major League Baseball and the NFL aren't always the greatest examples. I'm thinking of the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, who should not be playing football anymore, given the number of concussions that he's had. But if you have them as a child and you take that time to heal, that is the ideal situation versus, oh, shake it off and you're back playing a week later. That's going to lead to a lot more problems down the road, the non-physical problems down the road that we were talking about earlier that tend to happen from a brain injury.
Kids especially can have emotional regulation issues, sleep disturbance. They just may not be able to function at the level they're used to until they're healed, and it's really important to give them the time.
I think it's also amazing that you're giving those resources to the parents, because that's very difficult for us to even navigate as well. My son is 30 now and he played baseball. He's still a pitching coach for a college, but when he was a sophomore on the baseball team was the first year that they did, I don't know if it was an MRI or a CAT scan of all of the players on the team so that they had a base, so that
Oh,
if
wow.
something happened to them moving forward, they were able to look at those and compare to be able to see. But that was ages ago. I don't know if they're still even doing something like that, but those kinds of things are incredibly valuable. Gina, both of your kids play sports.
They do that in high school now. My kid's on JV. And so for volleyball season, they had to take a baseline, same test to be able to give them that baseline to where something did happen, even in volleyball, football players. So any sport in JV and varsity level. Now, I coach middle school. They don't do it for the middle schoolers, although they should, because they're playing the same level of sport, just one lower level. But definitely JV level high school sports, they do. They provide that baseline concussion, and they have to watch the video, and all the coaches have to go through the trainings and get certified. And I had to be certified as well.
That's fantastic. I'm glad
I
they're
would say
taking
that's pretty
concussions so
impressive, isn't it, Sarah?
seriously. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Tell me about the PALS program.
So the PALS program is close to my heart because it is basically a way for a survivor and a volunteer to get together once a month to provide a social outlet for the survivor. A lot of people, once they've had a brain injury, lose friends because they're not quite the same person. And it does take them a while to find a word, or their speech is slow, or their physical capabilities are different. And a lot of times people don't know how to handle that and they just back away. This program is a way for them to get out and have some social time. And that may be a Zoom where both people knit and chat over Zoom, or they go get a coffee or go to a ball game, whatever their mutual interests are. And then it helps build back that confidence in being a social person, understanding that you are worthy of friendships and that you have a lot to offer. So I think this is an ideal program for people who are retired or are not working, because that way you have your daytime free and they can spend time together. It's a 1 year commitment, but it's only a once a month for that year. If you would like to extend it after that because you get along great, then you're welcome to extend it. But I think it's a really important program for all ages to be able to develop friendships and have a way to get out of the house and perhaps give their caregiver a break.
That's incredibly valuable. Lisa, you were talking earlier when we were talking about all of the different things that you go through from a case management perspective about the support. And Sarah just said something that I'm curious about. If I have a friend or a family member that has suffered from a brain injury and I don't want to be that person that starts to pull away or stops calling or stops coming by, but I'm terrified that I'm going to say the wrong thing, or I don't know what I should do or how I should act. Can I reach out to you as a case manager or to the organization to say, hey, give me some tips? Tell me what I should know and what I should and shouldn't do. Are those things that you can help with as well?
When my phone rings, I answer it. Sometimes I have no idea who it is. Don't know that number. But yes, it's not just that maybe friends back away because they're not sure, but clients also can isolate themselves and put a wall up and then become unapproachable almost. I don't know that they do that on purpose, or if it's the brain injury that leads them to behaviors like that. I'm not sure. However, if somebody called and said, how should I approach my friend who has gotten a brain injury? And I'd want to know what was going on, a little bit of story. And I would advise them to research. There's some very good websites that go into detail about things like the isolation, the confusion, foggy brain. And then there's people that all of a sudden organization is an issue. It's very subjective to the person, how they're feeling, what may be bothering them the most. But as a friend, the client, the person with the brain injury is still there. Maybe they do speak a little slower, or perhaps they're looking for their words, but the support is important. But yes, all around that question, yes. If somebody called, I would definitely tell them what I think might be good.
Sara, how would someone find your organization? I assume you have an online presence. So is there a website? Is there social media? Give me all of the logistics of reaching out to you.
We have a website, and that is bicsv.org. So brain injuries of the Shenandoah Valley, but let's make that a lot shorter. And that has the case managers' phone numbers and contact information. We have offices from Woodstock all the way down the valley to Buena Vista. You can find the case manager that's appropriate for your area on our website. We also have concussion information for parents that they can download and take a look at. Then we have Facebook and Instagram, just like everybody else, and we keep those updated. Facebook is a great place to see when our next support groups are. Lisa runs a support group for the northern region. We also have a Zoom support group for those who can't get out or would prefer to stay at home. That's just fine. And we also have virtual stretching and light yoga that's on Zoom, so you can participate in that.
My sport group is at the library in Rappahannock County. Of course, you don't have to be living in Rappahannock to come. And virtual, of course, anybody can come. But also there's an in-person support group that happens once a month in Harrisonburg.
I think it's really great that you offer both of those options because some people, as you mentioned, Sara, can't get out of the house, or when they have a couple hours, they don't want to have to get dressed and leave the house and do all of the things. But other people need that exit. They need to be able to get dressed and leave the house and get a coffee and sit across from another human being and have that conversation. So the fact that you are able to accommodate both of those, I think, is fantastic.
Yes, and I like the format. The Zoom usually has a topic of discussion, but a lot of times the support groups can just be a hangout with an activity. So you don't have to feel pressured to speak. You can just sort of enjoy the camaraderie, which is nice.
Sara, Lisa, thank you both for taking the time to chat with me today. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gina, we are nearing the end of October. Can you believe this? As people are listening, it seems crazy.
It is. I'll be putting my Christmas tree up here soon.
No, don't even say that.
No.
I'm not entertaining any Christmas anything until
Well, not Christmas trees, plural. Christmas trees with S's, multiples
What?
in my house.
You're one of those people? Really?
I am. I'm an overachiever. There's one in every. There's one in every room.
Gina,
Wow.
those people too. I have at least no less than 3 or 4.
Oh, I'm
I've got about
surrounded
8
by
or
them.
9 that go in my house.
Get out. Okay, so we're going to rewind back to October.
We have 2 events before October ends. We have a business seminar with yours truly, Miss Janet, that is coming and talking about quick and easy holiday marketing ideas. So as we're headed into the holiday season, she's going to do a wonderful workshop geared around marketing ideas for the holiday season and the best strategies on how to market and boosting your sales and visibility during the shopping season and launching campaigns. That is going to take place on Tuesday, October the 21st from 3 to 4. So please join us for that. Also on Tuesday, the following Tuesday, October the 28th from 5:30 to 7, we are going to be doing a Women in Business activity. Is it a paint and sip with Cameo Galleries and is taking place at Zora Jane. So we get to enjoy a painting class as well as glasses of wine and a charcuterie display there at Zora Jane. And so come and enjoy us for a great evening of fellowship and hanging out, and you get to walk away with a lovely painting of a fall picture. I believe it is going to be pumpkins, pumpkin fall scene, so that you get to display for the fall season before we get into the Christmas holiday time. But come and enjoy us. Those are our 2 ending events that we have for the month of October before we get busy into the holiday November, December seasons.
We need to figure out how to combine a marketing workshop with a paint and sip. I think that would be fun.
All right.
Big girl marketing.
Yeah.
Remember
we can
last year,
brainstorm
year or
that.
two, we did the one, what did we call it? I can't remember what we called it, but we did the whole thing at Pretty on Y'all. People could come and do a craft while we just talked marketing
Uh-huh.
and people asked questions and that sort of stuff. That was
Catalina.
really
Yep.
fun.
Catalina's store. Yeah. Pretty on y'all.
So yeah, but now we just need to figure out how to do a paint and sip or just a sip. I'm okay with just a sip. So where do people go learn about all the cool fun things happening at the Luray Page Chamber?
So they can check out our website at visitluraypage.com. They can also visit us on any of our social media pages, Facebook mostly. Visit us there. They can call the office at 540-743-3915, or they can email us at info@luraypage.com to gather any of the information we could send them.
Thank you for taking the time today and for pulling Lisa and Sarah into our conversation. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anything that we can learn about this, and they've been a great asset showing us different ways and teaching us all about this, and we just got to be more cautious and just more careful.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley Today, a few minutes after noon, so meet me here then.